what are the best foods to lower cholesterol. This is such a fun topic because we get to see God's handiwork in the answer. My husband and I were in the doctor's office, and the doctor was just writing prescription one after another. And I said to the doctor, we're going to try diet and exercise first. Well, the doctor said, no, it doesn't work. Take the prescription and start taking it now. So we went home, and my husband said, okay, since we're not filling the prescription, what are we going to do? And I said, we're going to do high fiber diet and we're going to start the Daniel fast. And that is exactly what we did. This was the beginning of when I just started milling my own wheat. That was high fiber. We had to decide to get rid of all processed foods, all sugar, and we got rid of all animal products. Now, it wasn't forever. It was just for 30 days. So what we did was the Daniel fast. And I've got the Daniel fast course. You can go check it out. It has all the menus, the recipes, everything. It's all put together for you. But when I did it, I didn't have all of that. I had to go scramble and try to figure this out. 30 days later, we walked into the doctor's office and I had our lab work in our hands. And I showed him what happened. We took his cholesterol, Steve's cholesterol, from 300 down to 140 in 30 days. His weight dropped 15 pounds and his triglycerides went from 900 to 160. Now, many people focus on the cholesterol, but it's the triglycerides that are the bad guy. Here's some things that when you go to get tested and you are dehydrated, your cholesterol numbers are going to be skewed. If you had a sickness already, you went to the doctor because you had the flu or you had a bad cold, you had sinus infection, you had COVID, and they ran your blood work and your cholesterol was high. Yes, it will be. It will be high under those circumstances. So do not start on a medication right away. Instead, wait. Tell your doctor, you know what, I'm going to really address my diet over the next 2 weeks. I'll retest and we'll see if it's still high and if I still need the medication. Now, the companies that produce the medications, they have lowered the parameters. So now we're down to 200. We have been for a while. So the high is now 200 or more. Well, that's not necessarily high. In fact, you need cholesterol for all the different variety of hormones to be able to communicate. If you are a woman with estrogen dominance or estrogen that's too low or progesterone dominance, you need cholesterol to balance that out. And if you're on a cholesterol lowering medication, you actually may throw yourself into some other issues with your estrogen and progesterone levels. We have to have cholesterol for our hormones to communicate. Now, my husband was at 300. That's totally high. That's high. And we needed to address that. And we needed to address it seriously and very quickly. So we did a high fiber diet, no processed foods, no sugars, and no animal products. Animal products don't contribute to cholesterol. It's processed carbs that contribute to cholesterol. They get converted into fats. And if you're not exercising, you're not burning those fats. It'll go through a different process. And then you have an enzyme called reductase that is going to convert it. So then your cholesterol numbers go up. Therefore, your doctor thinks you're sick. Eggs do not contribute to high cholesterol. It was a theory. This food has cholesterol, therefore that food must raise your cholesterol. No, it's never been proven. It was a theory. It's actually been proven wrong. Carbs, processed carbs, convert into fats, which convert into cholesterol, triglycerides specifically. So watch your numbers, know your numbers, test your numbers. You can order the blood test anytime you want. I'll put a link down below to how you can order your own blood work. Check your diet, change your diet for 30 days, test again. And if you can't get it below 220, then maybe you do need to see your physician and get on a medication. But I would make that the last resort, not the first option. You have ways. So remember, if you're dehydrated, if you're already sick, then be careful about jumping on a medication. Try to lower it through diet, and you must have exercise. Exercise is a daily thing that we have to do. We have to exercise because it helps to convert carbs into a process that will be utilized by the body. But if you're not exercising and you're being lethargic and you're being lazy, well, then yeah, you may have high cholesterol, especially if you're sitting there eating a bag of Doritos. That's a double whammy. So I really wanted to address this question with a little bit more detail so that you can understand it's very possible. High fiber, no processed foods, do the Daniel fast for 30 days, and you will have your cholesterol numbers singing a beautiful tune. And your doctor will say, oh, that's beautiful. You're doing such a great job. I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up. That's what you want your doctor to say if he's working for you. And so always remember that. Thanks for letting me answer this question. There are different supplements that can bring cholesterol down, but I really believe diet, super high fiber. In other words, you should be going to the bathroom twice a day, and it should be smooth like a banana, and you'll know your cholesterol numbers will be down to where they need to be. You can do this. Everyone can do this. There are some issues where we have some different genetic factors that you're prone to having high cholesterol, but even with that, you still have the ability to bring the numbers down. All right, thanks for letting me share this with you. And today is just one question I wanted to answer because I wanted to pay attention to this and I wanted your attention. So thank you for letting me share with you God's recipe for excellent health. And today is an amen day. And I heartily agree with what God's bringing our way. And you are who He is bringing our way, and we're blessed by that. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so we can stay connected and I can keep teaching you God's recipe for excellent health. Thanks for sharing this. Welcome to the Biblical Nutritionist family. I am here to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. And I get to do that through many ways. One is through these videos on YouTube. Another way that you may not realize is we have what's known as the Inner Circle. And it's in the Biblical Nutrition Academy. And this is where we get to come together and we get to meet on Zoom. We have meetings 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times a week where you can come and you can just sit at the table and drink your cup of tea and bring to the table what's on your heart and mind. Some of our meetings are about how to pray for God's answer and to expect God's answer. Those calls are amazing. And then we have calls where how to just take your kitchen and take it from being a burden to a blessing. And then the highlight of our coaching calls on how to transform your health. As your personal biblical nutritionist, I will be there on those calls to help you. You get to bring your questions and we get to work through it. And it's all in a group setting on Zoom. But there's another call that I want to invite you to, and that is our B3 Victory calls. And this is where we get to identify what are those beliefs that are holding you back and how can you push those aside, just take those captive, throw them out the door, and start seeing God work amazingly in your life. I invite you to check out the Inner Circle, thebiblicalnutritionist.com/inner circle, and learn about this. We only open it up 4 times in a year, and I don't want you to miss out on our next opening. If it's not open, it'll say join the wait list and we'll notify you first. We are limited seating, but yet we have a seat that I hope that you will take place and join us because God has a victory waiting for you. And it's time to get rid of the lies, and it's time to see your health, to explore what your health can be like, and to get the victory mentally, physically, and importantly, spiritually. Welcome to the Biblical Nutritionist family.